Hey, you're still right here on Roots TV Nigeria. Supplementary elections are going on in 17 states and the FCT. A lot of stories have been coming out from those elections, especially with violence marring states like Kano, Benue, and so on, which begs the question, are supplementary elections really necessary in Nigeria? What is the necessity and the functionality of supplementary elections in the country? Now, legally it is right. INEC is in the Electoral Act. But then when you have situations like this where even opposition political parties and even main political parties, or rather ruling political parties, are calling for cancellations just like they did in the main elections, you begin to wonder, do supplementary elections really work? To have this conversation right here in the studio, I have a political analyst in the person of Frank Atete. Welcome.
Thank you, and my pleasure.
Straight question. Supplementary elections, do we still need it? Yes, we know it is in the Electoral Act. Yes, it's legal. But in light of a lot of things that have happened in these supplementary rerun elections,
well, what we experience now is a clear abuse of the provision that of supplementary elections. Supplementary elections are supposed to be resorted to where it is obvious that elections couldn't hold as a result of maybe acts of God and other things that are beyond the control of the Independent National Electoral Commission. But it has been used as a political weapon, as in the strategy of politicians in capturing power, particularly the ruling the APC. Has made it appear that it will be something that they will always resort to when they are about to lose any particular state or election. And so this unusual and unnecessary suspicion of the use of supplementary elections should have made INEC to do everything possible to increase the integrity of our elections, which are currently right now suffering a serious deficit when it comes to whether they can be judged to be free, fair, and credible.
Well, some people are asking, why 17 states? I mean, in most of these states, winners have been declared. So is it just a case of, to ensure that the legal terms are kept, to ensure that the Constitution is maintained, even though we know the outcome of the election is not going to make a difference in case of who wins? But
elections generally are very expensive, and it takes a lot to get the resources and budgetary approvals to run elections, and INEC would want to cover its track. It has not done very well with the way the elections have been run.
I'm sorry, what do you mean by cover its track?
Tracks in the sense that all of these elections will be tested in court, and when these supplementary elections that it has lined up are simply meant to stave off a possible legal disaster when these matters are tested in court.
With all due respect, legal disasters are going to happen because there are complaints and then all over
it will
from different candidates.
It will be disastrous for INEC having had that kind of money it had originally to run the elections, and then you find out, as a matter of fact, the courts, by virtue of non-compliance to the Electoral Act, the courts are declaring, the tribunals, I would say, are declaring that cancelling and saying the elections ought to be conducted afresh, rerun elections entirely. So it's a serious indictment on INEC. So if INEC is struggling to ensure compliance by carrying out these supplementary elections, that can only be the reason why.
Well, is it even working? Because even in the rerun elections, it's looking like well, I wouldn't use those words, but it's looking like it's very shoddy and disorganized, and it feels like they really don't have it all together in so many different places.
From the outset,
is the covering of the track working?
Yes, it's usually very difficult when you tamper with the integrity of a process, when from the outset there are what I would refer to as setting agenda to not to allow the process run on the basis of the law, or on having the institution running with some measure of integrity. All of these things were shot in the process so far, and that's why we have this kind of confusion. INEC should have been truly independent. They should have asserted that it not only is independence, but its competence in managing these elections. It's an election management body. It should have shown more competence in ensuring that when it conducts an election, even the winner and the losers will agree that the elections were indeed compliant with the Electoral Act.
So you're saying
what INEC has done so far is that all of these supplementary elections, all of these complaints, all of these barrages and spoiling for the tribunal, it's just showing that INEC has done a very poor job.
Okay, finally, just hypothetically, if supplementary elections were to be cancelled or scrapped from the electoral process, what could be the possible way of dealing with issues of inconclusive elections, and for those who say, who feel maybe aggrieved when elections are
INEC
run?
should not attempt to try and repair what has gone bad in course of the election. INEC should allow the tribunals to decide. The law presumes that there will be non-compliance. The law presumes that there will be reversal of processes that were not done according to law. So INEC should stop being the courts before these matters are put before the tribunal.
So you're saying, look, when you're done with elections, whether you did it well or not, let the courts finish the other process. Don't keep going back to try to fix something you didn't do right.
What they're trying to do is just, and it's embarrassing, and it also indicts the managers of INEC.
I see. Thank you so much, Frank Tete, for taking our time to talk to us. Give us your comments on the comment section of this video. And while you're at it, please subscribe to our YouTube page. My name is Gloria Oje Emode, and you're watching Roots TV Nigeria.